The year was 1998, and our nation was reeling from an embarrassing scandal.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
When our chips were down as a country, there was one thing that got us out of that funk. Yep, you guessed it. It was Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa hitting a fuck ton of tape measure home runs that saved us from our national shame. Things were alright for a while, and then they weren't. In September of 2001, our nation was in a slump after 19 bozos committed 9/11 by crashing into the World Trade Center.
And the people who knocked these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
There were, of course, three things that healed our country in the wake of such a tragedy. The first was President George Bush throwing a perfect first pitch at Game 3 of the World Series in Yankee Stadium. The second was the alternative rock band Built to Spill playing Freebird in Atlanta, Georgia on September 25th. And the final thing that healed our nation was Barry Bonds hitting a record 73 home runs. I guess that's a long way of making a very simple point. And that point is that, well, steroids can't be that bad, right? Sure, they shrink your testicles and turn you into a hyper-aggressive hormone monster, but steroids have also brought us together in times of need. To celebrate the positive effects of performance-enhancing drugs, I've decided to run a bit of an experiment. What happens when you take all of the known steroid users from Backyard Baseball 2001 and put them on the same team? I start by creating a new team, and to pay homage to my previous backyard football endeavors, I will name my squad the Crazy Bombers once again. It's time to fill out the roster with all the juice heads this game has to offer. My first pickup is a pretty obvious one, Jose Canseco. He literally wrote the book on steroids and began outing players he knew were cheating. To be fair, I don't know if he actually wrote the book. He doesn't exactly strike me as a literary mastermind. Next up is Mark McGwire, who basically pled the fifth in front of Congress, but later admitted to steroid use in 2010. Then I'll snag A's slugger Jason Giambi, who owned up to roiding up back in 2007. Then I'll take that weirdo A-Rod, who said this when he was asked if he took steroids.
No.
Next up, I'll take Sammy Sosa, who had the most hilarious defense when asked about steroids. And by defense, I mean he just pretended he didn't speak English anymore. I don't really have to explain this one, but of course I'll take the home run king. This picture kinda just speaks for itself, doesn't it? Finally, I'll round out the roster with Mike Piazza, Pudge Rodriguez, and Juan Gonzalez, three all-time greats accused of eating a balanced breakfast for years. Well, here they are. It's my little team of junior juicers. After setting my lineup, I'm welcomed by the commentary duo of
Sunny Day here, along with Vinny the Gooch.
Pause. Yes, his name is Vinny the Gooch.
Welcoming you again to Backyard Baseball.
It appears Vinny has been concussed by too many fastballs to the head, because he repeats exactly what Sunny Day just said.
Vinny the Gooch here, along with Sunny Day, welcoming you again to Backyard Baseball.
Listen, Vinny, women have a hard enough time in sports media without you stealing their words. How about you sit down and listen? Vinny is so terribly concussed that he begins talking about deals at the local prostitution den, which he frequents.
She's running a special today. 2 for $1. That's 2 of anything behind the counter, except Lucy, of course.
After hearing that smut from Vinny the Gooch, I'm really ready to play the Kansas City Royals and get that taste out of my mouth. We're the road team, so Alex Rodriguez leads it off to start the game. A-Rod loops a ball in the left field that Carlos Beltran, for some reason, just lets drop at his feet. Next up is Sammy Sosa. He uses his corked bat to inside out the ball off the shed for a base hit. With runners at the corners and no one away, Pudge Rodriguez gets aboard on a single, and Jose Canseco drives in our first run on a fielder's choice. Barry Bonds pops out to third, but Jason Giambi reloads the bases with a little squib shot to the pitcher. Fortunately, we're able to muster a run. Mike Piazza dribbles an RBI single down the third base line, and that brings up Big Mac himself with a shot at a grand slam.
I'm gonna hit this one so far. The windup, the pitch, swing. A bouncing ball.
Gotta watch your kneecaps on those taters.
He's out.
McGwire talked a big game, but like the Cardinals of the last 10 years, was unable to deliver. Since I didn't draft a pitcher, we've got Jason Giambi on the bump. And according to the Gooch,
Giambi's got a terrific fastball for a first baseman.
It appears the Gooch is right for once, and despite almost fucking it up, Pudge is there to retire Carlos Beltran. Giambi puts the K in con, and then he ends the inning when he tells Billie Jean Blackwood to grab some pine. Juan Gonzalez is issued a free pass to start the top of the second, and Alex Rodriguez, well, he got a hold of this one.
He delivers. A swing. Hit to deep right field. That ball is out of here and there is nothing left but a vapor trail.
Whoever finds that ball is gonna see a tattoo on it, that's for sure.
I'm not sure how they got a blimp, considering there's only 25 left in the entire world. But there's really only two blimps that matter. The one that read Ice Cube's a pimp, and of course the Hindenburg. Also, I'd like to point out that with that 2-run shot, that I consider myself a man of faith.
And so that'll make it a 4-0 ball game.
I don't know if I'm ever going to be putting on this headset again, but I do know that Jose Canseco hit this ball to the moon, and the Bombers tack on another 2 runs to make it 6-0. Jose Canseco keeps tweeting that he can hit a softball further than Aaron Judge, and you know what? He might be right. There's runners on the corners once again, and Mike Piazza drives home Barry Bonds on a fielder's choice. Maybe if Jason Giambi wasn't running in quicksand, we might have been able to avoid that second out. It's not a big deal though, because Sammy Sosa sends this ball all the way to Neptune as we hit the 10-run mark in just 2 innings. That's a 4-run home run, or as the kids call it, a grand slam. And you know what else is a grand slam? Just kidding. I don't have an ad for this video. I think I killed any chances of an ad partnership when I called the 9/11 hijackers bozos in the first minute of this video. We've officially batted around, and Jose Canseco loops a fly ball into left field for a base hit. Then Barry Bonds shoots one in the gap the other way for an RBI double. With the bases fully loaded once again, Wangan nearly hits a granny, but settles for a long single that plates a couple of runs. A-Rod pops out, but not before we can put up a 15 spot in the second inning. Leading off for the Royals is some kid named Jose Meisenheimer, and I'm not sure you can get a name like that unless your German grandfather made a very convenient trip to Argentina around, say, 1945. His grandfather might not have faced justice, but Jose does via the glove of Jason Giambi, and following a double in the gap by the next batter, Mandy Coolidge absolutely crushes a ball to left, cutting our lead to just 15 runs. Sammy Sosa is up to bat in the third, and he hits a solo dong a long way to right field. Sammy Sosa hit that ball so far that it turned him white. I don't know how that makes sense, I just wanted to point out that he's white now for some reason. In the next frame, Juan Gonzalez is unable to track a deep fly ball to left, but we somehow make the play at first thanks to a needlessly complicated relay. Jose Canseco gets eaten up by a ground ball, and that gets us in our first good old-fashioned pickle. Cue the yakety sax. Wait a second. I'm hearing this just now. Yakety sax is not royalty free. Okay, fine. Cue the public domain alternative to yakety sax. God damn it. After we retire the side, Vinny the Gooch goes on a long-winded yet wistful diatribe about, well, something or other.
The Bombers are annihilating their competition. So I remember back in my youth, last year, the Bombers had a tremendous season. This kid, Martha Smalley.
Who?
She moved to Pittsburgh last fall. You're too young to remember her, kid.
Vinny, I'm older than you.
Anyways, Smalley pitched 6 straight shutouts. Even Pablo Sanchez couldn't get anything off her. Pablo was playing with the Giants at the time. Anyway, they called her Firearm. I heard she was the great-great-great-granddaughter of Walter Johnson. 6 straight shutouts. Yeah, those were the glory days for the Bombers, I tell ya. Back in the days of Firearm.
Wow.
Man, how can you not be romantic about baseball? In the top of the 6th, I'm basically toying with my opponent. A-Rod hits one out to the wall in left field, and you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna let him score. We're not done yet, and with 2 outs, Jose Canseco clubs his second home run of the game. It's straightaway shot to center field, which feels a little cheap, but so does hitting 62 home runs in Yankee Stadium. We make the Royals pay one more time when Giambi plates our 24th run by hitting away from the shift. Then, Pudge Rodriguez closes out the game with an easy throw to first. The final score is 24-2, and I can't help but notice that looks a little familiar, and there it is.